This program is brought to you by Emory University.
Welcome to Emory. We celebrate the achievements that have brought you here. This introduction to Emory as place traces the lands and peoples of Emory's history. Through our jobs, our studies, and our lives here in Atlanta, we participate in a living city and ecosystem. This university joins with many in Atlanta to work toward a more sustainable way of life in our region, one that is environmentally healthy, economically sound, and socially just. The Laney Graduate School and the Transforming Community Project initiated this introduction as part of a commitment to understanding place as a foundation for public scholarship. It is brought to you by the Office of Sustainability Initiatives and Human Resources.
How do we come to know and live in a place sustainably? We begin by discovering where we are. The academic heart of the Atlanta campus is the Quad. The southern border is North Decatur Road, anchored by the shops and restaurants of Emory Village. Clifton Road defines the center of the campus, passing Emory Hospital and clinics, leading to the woods of Lowellwater, the Federal Centers for Disease Control, and Sage Hill Shopping Center. The eastern border is Claremont Road, and Emory includes the Claremont campus. The Briarcliff campus is on the western edge of the Druid Hills neighborhood. Emory is located in the foothills of the Appalachians, in the region called the Piedmont. Piedmont forests are some of the most diverse in the world, and the Druid Hills neighborhood retains densely wooded areas where wildlife thrives.
The story of Emory's peoples begins with the Native Americans, who practiced agriculture in settled villages throughout the region. The town and ceremonial mounds of Etowah can be seen only 45 minutes north of Atlanta. Claremont Road follows the route of a major Native American trail, a trunk road that carried traders from the Atlantic coast to the mountains. European settlers arrived on the Georgia coast and by the early 1800s had settled in the Atlanta area. The original European settlers of the Druid Hills neighborhood were the Hardman family, and by 1825 they had established a church in the Decatur area. The Hardman family cemetery is still visible on the Emory Claremont campus behind the Child Care Center. After the land lottery of 1821, Europeans flooded into the region. The discovery of gold in North Georgia led to the Indian Removal Act, and by 1840, all indigenous lands were in European hands. The Trail of Tears removal to Oklahoma brought starvation and hardship to Georgia's Indians, and over a quarter of them died before they reached the federal reservation. African peoples are also part of the Emory story. The colony of Georgia originally prohibited slavery, but by 1750, enslaved Africans were brought into the state and labored in fields, homes, and towns. By 1850, more than 40% of Georgians were of African descent.
Emory was founded in 1836 by a small band of Methodists who built a town they called Oxford, reflecting their high educational aspirations. The college was named Emory after a bishop whose vision for education included the development of character as well as the mind. Some Emory faculty and trustees owned slaves and defended the institution of slavery. National controversies over race and rights affected Oxford College. The Methodist Church split over slavery and did not reunite until 1939. Some forms of diversity are part of our earliest traditions. Emory became an international institution in the 1890s as a student from Korea and another from China attended the college. At a time when most universities excluded Jewish students, Emory welcomed Jewish applicants into the student body.
Emory's second campus was built in Atlanta, a thriving railroad hub whose economy was influenced by its central location. Today, the city continues to serve as a distribution and communications hub. The Civil War of the 1860s brought destruction to Atlanta as General Sherman's Union Army cut off Confederate supply lines.
The Civil War population of 10,000 grew to nearly 90,000 by the turn of the century. 40% were African American. White and black businesses shared the downtown commercial district. Atlanta University, dedicated to the education of newly freed slaves, was chartered in 1867. Located in the southwestern part of the city, it was followed by Morehouse and Spelman colleges for men and women, respectively, and later by Clark College and Morris Brown College. Today, the schools of the Atlanta University Center make up the largest concentration of predominantly black institutions of higher education in the world. Intellectual leader and social critic W.E.B. Du Bois described Atlanta as the city of 100 hills, peering out from the shadows of the past into the promise of the future. The community of scholars assembled at Atlanta University established it as the National Center for the Systematic Study of Race. As Atlanta's reputation as the civil rights capital grew, the AU area supported a community of beautiful homes and African American culture, arts, food, and commerce on the west side. Whites were threatened by growing African American economic and social power. The Atlanta race riot ignited in 1906, and over 3 days, 27 African Americans and 2 whites were killed. The city grew more segregated as black-owned businesses and professionals relocated to the Sweet Auburn area on the edge of the downtown. Residential segregation was Atlanta's inheritance in 1930 and continues to characterize the city today.
In the early 20th century, Atlanta surged beyond its original borders. The Druid Hills neighborhood, a planned suburb, was designed by the firm of Frederick Law Olmsted, designer also of New York's Central Park. Featuring green space, a trolley, and houses set in large lots, Druid Hills was one of the earliest suburban developments in America. Emory University arrived in Druid Hills in 1915. Asa Candler, founder of the Coca-Cola Company and brother to a former Emory president, gave the Methodist Church $1 million and 75 acres. Emory College provided the liberal arts core of the university. Oxford College, which continued on Emory's original campus, is today a nationally recognized 2-year institution. Emory School of Medicine was founded in connection with Emory, and nursing, theology, law, and business were soon added to the Atlanta campus. The graduate school was founded in 1919 as part of the move of arts and sciences from Oxford to the Atlanta campus. The Lowerwater Estate, formerly the home of Atlanta businessman Walter Candler, is today Emory's president's residence. Farmland was turned into pasture, and South Peachtree Creek was dammed to create electric power. The ruin of the generator tower remains visible today in Lowerwater. Candler Lake was created by damming Richardson Creek, named for the African-American caretaker of the Lowerwater Estate for nearly 40 years. Mr. Ernest, as he was known, supported the reforestation of the land. Lowerwater's 132 acres are open to guests of Emory, providing respite and recreation.
Atlanta's growth since the 1960s has been rapid. The metro area today is one of the fastest growing urban areas in the country. The metro area includes over 46 different political jurisdictions, making coordination of transportation, water, and sustainability efforts very difficult. With no natural boundaries to slow the city's growth, Atlanta's suburbanization has replaced farmland and forests for hundreds of miles around. Still a railroad hub, Atlanta is also the home to the world's busiest airport. Federal funding of the interstate highways helped replace trains and trolleys with cars and trucks as our primary means of transportation.
After World War II, Emory began to welcome new diversity in students, faculty, and staff. The college became residentially co-ed in 1953, though women had earned degrees before then. In 1962, Emory challenged racial segregation with a lawsuit led by Board of Trustees Chair Henry Bowden. The state of Georgia was forced to allow Emory to admit students regardless of race. In 1963, the nursing school led the way by graduating 2 African American students. The integration of Emory hospitals was complete by 1967. The first tenure-track African American faculty member in Emory College was sociologist Dolores Aldridge, hired in 1971 to start the Black Studies program. Emory's history also includes ties to Atlanta's strong Jewish community. Both Jewish and Christian business leaders in the Chamber of Commerce supported Emory's move to Atlanta. Emory is now a place of diverse religious traditions. From our Methodist roots, university rituals today include Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, and Jewish blessings and chants. Emory's international reputation grew through the generosity of the Woodruff family. In 1979, Robert and George Woodruff transferred $105 million in Coca-Cola stock to the Emory Endowment, the largest single gift to any institution in American history at that time. In the last 30 years, Atlanta has become a more international city, with immigrants from many parts of Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Students and scholars come to Emory from around the world. Today, over 20% of graduate students come from other countries.
From the earliest days of the Druid Hills campus, Emory has had a strong connection to health. Emory Healthcare is now the largest system in Georgia and includes Emory University Hospital, Emory Hospital Midtown, and many clinics and facilities on Clifton Road and around the state. Our schools of medicine, nursing, and public health have a continuing partnership with Emory's neighbor, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which was founded on land donated by the university. Today, the Global Health Institute extends Emory's concerns for medical practice and research around the world. In partnership with the Carter Center, CARE International, and Georgia Tech. Programs in nursing and public health also train students both in Georgia and around the world. Innovative graduate programs in many fields, such as development practice, African American studies, and women's studies, have strengthened collaboration across disciplines and institutions.
Currently, Emory continues to grow, guided by a new strategic plan. In 2005, sustainability was adopted as one of the fundamental principles of the university, and that commitment pushes against Atlanta's history of unfettered development. Hundreds of courses now address themes of social justice, economic vitality, and environmental health. Emory's goal is to prepare students to be ambassadors for sustainable living. Preservation of our forests is now a priority, and a policy of no net loss of tree canopy requires that trees lost to construction be replaced. Our forests form a green corridor with nearby parks. They lower summer temperatures, clean the air, and offer sites to connect with nature.
Growth in Atlanta challenges the living systems of air and water that sustain us. Summer smog is fed by pollution from dirty coal plants for electricity and heavy reliance on car travel. 2 of Atlanta's power plants are among the worst in the country for greenhouse gas emissions. Emory's shuttle service and bike programs offer clean alternatives. Shuttles are fueled with biodiesel made from used cooking oil from our dining halls. Mixed-use developments nearby support a denser community with less reliance on cars. New housing, restaurants, and shops offer a more sustainable neighborhood.
Growth in Atlanta has also brought water shortages. Our watershed is the smallest in the country for a city of our size. Roads and parking lots cannot absorb heavy rains, and flooding harms creek health. Small streams, like those on Emory's campus, are important for urban water quality. This parking deck at the Veterans Administration Hospital would not be legal today. As you get to know the campus, you may want to visit our 10 creeks, shown here in blue. Emory has become a national leader in green buildings, certified by the U.S. Green Building Council. LEED certified residence halls and other buildings are now Emory's norm. You will see many kinds of sustainability initiatives in your years here. We hope you will find your own ways to contribute.
This introduction to the lands and people of Emory and Atlanta offers you a deeper relationship to this place. From the villages of Native Americans and the fields worked by Europeans and Africans, Emory is today a dynamic, ethically engaged university in partnership with an international city. At our original Oxford campus and in Druid Hills, we are rising to the challenges of clean air and water, transportation, and growth. As we seek to build a thriving community for all and a university of service to the world, we welcome you. Discover, inhabit, sustain, and make your contribution to Emory as place.